Hello everyone, I am Chaos Wolf, or you can just call me Wolf for short, and this is Turok 2 Seeds of Evil. This is now the third time this has been shown off in Hotfix, and run hasn't really changed much, but I'm going to be showing off the 80% category, which is, as you'll see, very, very busted. So I have my commentator with me, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, I am Riffampin. You can call me Riff for short.
Alright, let's get started here. So we're going to go new game, and timing will begin when we select our difficulty. And 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck!
Alright, right away we're gonna spam spacebar to skip this cutscene.
Mission objectives are as follows.
And then I will need to make a quick save because this first enemy needs to not die on us. Okay, good. And he dropped us down pretty low. So we are intentionally taking damage here. And we'll find out in a minute. I'm going to drop down to 1 life and then set up for our first major sequence break. So I'm going to set up, get surrounded by these rat toys. That is 1 death. We started with 3 lives, so we gotta die twice in here and then go and set up in the spot. Just gotta make sure this guy behaves. We don't want him killing the other dinos. There we go. Okay.
1 life remaining.
Last life. And
So
this
now
is
that
what
Wolf's gotten down to 1 life, he is going to set up for our first major abuse here during the game over screen. Do you want to take it or do you want me to?
I was getting in the way. Okay, this should be good. Quick save for safety. I gotta listen to an audio cue here. And there it is. Now, Riff, explain to everybody what just happened.
So during the game over screen, it was found a couple years into us speedrunning this game that we actually are able to control Turok during the game over screen. The movement functions pretty similarly to a cheat, the fly mode cheat, but we have the game over screen obscuring our vision, so there is a lot of memorization and precise movements that'll come into play. Basically, in that screen, we can move up, down, left, right, forward, back, any direction and any axis. We can move our camera with our mouse just like normal movement. If when we do that, we go into a portal like this one here, Turok will come back to life, and we still have 0 health that's shown on the screen. We actually have less than that. Because basically what happens is we die, we game over, we hit that 0 health. Hitting 0 health is the trigger that kills Turok. But moving into this portals brings Turok back to life, but we still continue to take damage into the negatives. So we're effectively invincible right now, which makes hard mode pretty trivial, but hard mode is important for the run so we can actually control when we game over much easier. That'll allow us to kind of abuse this a lot. And one of the big advantages of moving around in the game over screen, which we call bell sliding, so from now on I'll call it bell sliding going forward, but we can move through doorways. We can't move through walls. It's not like a no-clip, but doors like that, we could walk right through. So we can do a lot of major sequence breaks with that.
And also with this...
and we call it... Sorry.
I was just gonna say...
we call it bell sliding because the chatter in chat, the bell tolls, was one of the huge people that helped find this tech, so we named it after him.
And the state of where we're at 0 health like this and losing it, and it doesn't display negative values, but as Riff explained, we're still losing health, and we call this zombie mode. So there's another skip coming up, and where some weird things start to happen whenever we fall into a death fit while in zombie mode. If Riff, you want to explain that?
Yep, so basically, again, we've already hit the trigger for killing Turok. We've hit that 0 health and we've come back to life. and are taking further damage into the negatives. We're not hitting 0 again, so we're able to fall into those death pits like that, and it won't kill us. And all that it really does is kind of gain more and more velocity. As you continue to fall in these holes, Turok will occasionally get warped upwards. Don't really know exactly why that happens, but we'll occasionally get warped upwards in that particular spot that Wolf just jumped down into. It'll randomly clip us up past that entire catwalk section, which saves a good minute or so of traversing some catwalks and dealing with some entrails. And after that, as you may have noticed while I was explaining that, Wolf picked up a full health. Obviously, we want to be able to game over multiple times throughout this run so we can sequence break as many times as we can. So the way that we allow ourselves to die again, there's 2 ways, and one of which is getting that full health. No matter where you are for health, you can be at 1 health, 99 health, or negative 50,000 health. Picking up a full health will set Turok's health back to 100 and allow us to take damage again and die again. We also have to get a life back, and as you may notice in the top right corner, Wolf has been collecting these life force shards here, these right here. There are, we call them Doritos, mostly because of Turok 1, they were more triangular shaped like Doritos, but just like a Mario game, getting 100 will give you an extra life. And allow us to game over again. Because if you die at 0 lives, the game underflows your life counter to 255. So he picked up that full health to give him health again, and he picked up just enough Doritos to get an extra life, allowing him to bell slide out of the level without completing any of the mission objectives.
Your mission objectives are
Normally, if you try to leave a level without completing the objectives, it sends you right back to the beginning and says, nope, too bad, go do the objectives. But the remaster added that portal behind that door that Wolf bell slided into, which sends us directly to the hub, whether we completed the objectives or not.
Okay, now we're in Death Marshes. It's level 3, but it's second in the speedrun. And you probably saw my screen flash in red whenever I fell into this toxic soup here. We normally need something called the Breath of Life talisman to traverse that safely, but since we're in zombie mode, we don't need it. And in fact, there's only 1 talisman in the entire game that we're gonna acquire. We still have not found a way to bypass that, but yeah, we're going to, I think in the next screen actually, go and collect a... Okay, let me back up a second. So these keys that I'm collecting are for individual levels. There's also boss keys called the Primogen keys, and that is down in here. So I'm going to turn on my map because it's hard to see, and I need to be able to make good lines down here.
Yep, so the minimum requirement for any percent, we just want to see an endgame cutscene. So in order to do that, all we need to do is kill the final boss. In order to kill the final boss, we need keys like that. There are 6 Primogen keys total, 1 in each level. So we need to collect the 6 Primogen keys. And in order to collect the 6 Primogen keys, we need to unlock every level. So the minimum requirement for any percent is that we just need to enter every level, so we need to get every level key. And then we need to get the Primogen key in each level. Anything else that we collect along the way is just going to be bonus, like that Leap of Faith talisman that Wolf was alluding to that will help us get the keys that we need.
Yeah, this game was essentially like it was essentially like the Banjo-Kazooie of FPS games back in the day.
The general idea is very large levels with a lot of backtracking, a lot of collectibles along the way, a lot of really cool weapons too.
Alright, coming up is a trick I believe you found, Riff.
This trick is very near and dear to my heart. It's the first trick I found when learning this game.
And there it is.
Able to clip right up onto that bridge.
So we're gonna grab the Shredder, which is the most busted weapon in the entire game. In fact, Night Dive nerfed it after the initial release. It used to, so what it does, it's a shotgun, and it fires energized shells that will bounce around the environment. It used to bounce off of enemies, and you could like just melt through bosses and just no amount of time. So they had to nerf it because it was just trivializing the entire game. But it is still very strong.
Still pretty broken.
Yeah. So we're gonna shoot this guy off in the distance because I need to do some platform. Oh, I didn't hit him. I think it will be fine though.
Sorry, you have one extra red shell to work with in this section.
I need more than
A
that.
little low on Doritos in there.
Still need another one, but I'll get it in Hive. Jump over that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to kill the last two Purlin with grenades because I don't have enough red shells.
So you may have seen Wolf's screen flash there. One piece of tech that we don't use too often anymore is quick save, quick load. And what that does, basically when you load a game, any collision remaining on that map will kind of go away. So as a doorway is opening, Wolf is able to walk through the door. Just saves like a half second or so of waiting for the door to open. And that was one of the more complicated bell slides where we die in some poison water intentionally and fly way up into the air.
And this is our first visit. This is our first visit to Adon, which is our guide during our journey, and she just refilled our health and ammo. Now we'll be heading off to Hive of the Mantids. This is probably in every single category. This is the hardest level, and we're getting it out of the way early. I'm gonna set up for this shot. Nope. There we go. All right, down a couple of red shells, but we'll work with it.
So each level has a couple spots along the way where Adon has her portal set up. Adon is the one we saw briefly in the first cutscene that we were skipping. She kind of guides us along the way. There's a couple portals in each level. The remaster added the ability to warp between each of those Adon portals. So once we've exited level 1 and unlocked the portal in the hub world, we don't need to complete any levels anymore. We can simply warp out of one level back to the hub and then move on to the next level whenever we're ready.
Okay. Normally if I was doing like world record attempts, I'd go lower than that, but we're gonna stop at 22.
We're setting up for the next bell slide right now. Normally on this level, what you have to do is shoot force field generators to break these types of force fields to progress. Some of them we can shoot through walls, and some of them like this we can just bell slide right through.
Also an audio cue for this one.
Yep. The only unfortunate thing is that you guys can't see what's going on, but basically he made a gigantic S shape down some hallways, and now he is setting up for the only damage boost that we do in the entire run. This is the only type of enemy that will hit us and give us a small boost, and let us take advantage of
he
the new
behaved.
mechanic added. Hell yeah, first try.
Nice.
That is a pretty tricky enemy. He does a lot of random movements and doesn't always hit us the way that we want, but he hits us just high enough that we can ledge grab up onto that ledge and stop, instead of having to hit all of the buttons in that room that spawns a ton of enemies that just body block us along the way.
You know, going to the moving while you're on the game over screen, how does one find like the appropriate routes to do, or that you can even move while in that game over screen? That always fascinates me.
Yeah, so I mentioned at first, it functions very similar to the fly mode cheat. One major difference is that the speed that you move is almost doubled. So you can kind of get an idea of the timing using the fly mode cheat, because that allows you, like I said, to move up, down, left, right, forward, back, any direction and any axis. And you can move through doors still, but you cannot clip through walls. So it's a reliable practice tool, but it's not one-to-one because you're moving at about half the speed. Nice. So a lot of trial and error is kind of how you learn some of these. For the most part, we don't do any mouse movements, so you set up an angle with a visual cue and then you just move. But there's one very complex one later that does not follow that rule.
There's always one.
So he's shooting at the floor here because the shredder bounces up and down, and that enemy can survive a direct hit from the shredder. So we do that shot there because there are gatekeepers for the next room to open up, or the next door to open up.
A lot of the recurring themes for this run is going to be very tight management of your health, very tight management of your Doritos or your life force shards that'll control whether you get an extra life or not. And lastly, our red shells, because those are going to let us use the shredder when we want to. This level in particular is very tight on red shell management for optimal speedrunning. Later levels are a little bit more forgiving. But he's going to use again the shredder for its bouncing shots and just shoot straight down to kill or to destroy these pieces of the force field generator here.
We got 4 left over, which is perfect.
Yes.
And here's our next favorite weapon for the speedrun, the Scorpion missile launcher. And coming up is powerful. The bitrate tunnel. It will probably look terrible on stream, and there's nothing I can do about it. And we are through.
Alright, so coming up is another example of where we use this zombie mode. So again, Wolf has maintained this zombie mode throughout a good chunk of this level. And normally, to get the Primogen key for the final boss, you would have to complete level 6 and get the talisman for level 6, called the Eye of Truth, which all it does is reveal some hidden bridges. But what the developers did is they only really made the Eye of Truth activate a small portion of the bridge. The rest of it is there, it's just not visible. So with a precise kind of fall into a death pit and a well-timed jump, we can do what's called Rift Ball. Wonder who helped find that one. We can do a trick called Rift Ball and kind of pinball around the room and land on the invisible bridge and get the Primogen key for the final boss without needing to backtrack.
And that's going to be one where I'm going to need to really focus on it.
Yeah, that is a very tough trick. Basically falling into the death pit without using jump and then jumping at a very specific time, because you can jump once only once you've fallen.
Oh, wow.
Looks good.
Oh, no.
That is unfortunate. So
I am ashamed of myself. So disclaimer, Riff and I are the 2 best in the world at this category, and sometimes stuff like this just happens. So the show must go on. I have to use the console to get out of this. There's no other way. This would be a reset if it were an actual attempt.
Oh, wow.
It's doing it again.
Does that make you feel good?
And Adon just constantly berates you for cheating.
yeah, so basically, again, it's you get kind of one small window where you can hold the space bar and prime a jump. In a real run, if it doesn't work, it would be a reset. You do have the opportunity if... There we go.
Ooh, nice.
Very nice.
Oh, that looks so cool.
You can see the bridge on the mini-map. It doesn't show up super well on stream in some spots, but you can see the mini-map on stream, so you can see where the bridge should be and still walk. And then for the way back, I don't know how or why this works, but there's a very specific spot in that death pit where if you fall with zombie mode, it for some reason teleports Turok into a wall, which is not usual for the Kex engine that this game runs off of, but into a wall back in the beginning of the room, right next to the portal. We need to go back out. Don't know why it happens, but it just randomly clips us back. So get that pretty quickly. And that is all we need for this level. We get the keys for level 6, and we get the Primogen key, so we're visiting our friend Adon here.
Ammo granted.
And again, once per level, we can use her to fill up health and ammo. So if we were to come back to the Hive of the Mantids, we would not be able to use any of the Adon portals for health and ammo again, but we don't need to.
Slaughter by the river. Your mission objectives are...
Choose the other way that we can undo that zombie mode. The full health pickups and a full health from Adon, no matter where you are for health, 199 or negative 50,000, whatever it is, she will full heal us.
So, those of you who have played this back in the day will probably remember seeing the Styracosaurus at the start of the level. We do not take him. Oh, that's gonna hit me. Grab that.
Yep. So this is a pretty tricky level for the start of it. Like Wolf said, we normally take the dinosaur at the beginning, which has some turrets and a big machine gun, and that'll help us kill a lot of those turrets on the tops of the buildings that are shooting at us. Again, we're playing on hard difficulty because we want to die intentionally as quick as we can in certain places, but this is the one place where we can get one shot out of nowhere. Well, maybe not the one place. There's a kind of brutal section in level 6, but this is a very tricky part of the run. Those turrets, those mortars, I should say, are
quick save
very
here.
high damage. Yeah, and that's a good
Safety
spot to do a
save.
safety save.
Okay, that scary part's over.
Deep breath time.
And those, you have to hit both of those switches for that bridge, and just shooting in the middle, the explosion is very generous, and it will hit both at the same time. Same here. There's only one switch.
A lot of switches on this level. We're given very generous hitboxes, and the explosive weapons are pretty big at taking advantage of that.
Oh yeah, you probably saw me do a lot of, I'll jump a lot during inclines or ramps, and that's of course that's just faster than walking up it normally. Grenade? Nice. Got a grenade right in the air. Quick saving here because I died in the toxic water. Okay, water hopped. Basically, you just double tap space and you'll jump across the surface of the water. Alright. Do a little bit of damage, please. Thank you, sir.
So this is going to be a very kind of quick section here. What Wolf is going to do is he's going to bell slide through this gate. Normally this section is a lot of kind of looping around and hitting switches to open this gate, which has a very long cutscene. But with the right angle and the game over, we can bell slide right through that and immediately onto the hardest trick in the run. It's a very low risk, high reward jump that you can try once right here.
I'm still gonna go for it. And to give you some perspective on that, I've been running this for nearly 5 years. I've never gotten that in a run, and I've only gotten it in practice maybe 3 times total. It's and
the ledge grab onto that bridge right there that he's running across. So it saves about 17 seconds or so if you hit it. It takes like 1 second off if you try and fail it. So it's very low risk, high reward, but insanely precise.
And here's the crazy thing. We've had somebody in our community create a macro, sort of like a task-assisted thing, just for testing purposes. And even with that, it wasn't consistent. Come to find out, we think it's because Turok has a breathing animation where his hitbox will slightly change. And so that's why you can't get it even with task assistance.
You can't see my jaw like wide open just hearing a task can't even do something consistently. It's like, really? Holy heck.
Or if you
What
want
you just saw here,
yeah.
So what you just saw here is the only use for the Firestorm Cannon in the game. Firestorm Cannon, well, in the speedrun, I should say. Firestorm Cannon is actually a really cool weapon overall. It's very strong on like easy difficulties for killing enemies, but it doesn't really have a use on hard mode because it just doesn't reliably kill enemies. But the projectiles, for some reason, go through walls. They won't damage enemies when they go through walls, but they will hit switches. So
and who
one
found
thing
that?
me. I'm trying to be humble here.
Like, you sound so upset. It's like, oh, yeah, I did this. Sorry.
So that switch lowers the ladders that Wolf just climbed up there. Normally what you would have to do is you'd have to go down a long side path and swim through some tunnels and go into a room that locks you in and sends spiders at you over and over until you shoot the switch. That switch lowers the ladders. But you can shoot that switch through the wall on the previous portal because they share the same map. And what I mean by that is when you go from portal to portal, you generally go from map to map, but this map for some reason is gigantic. And this map here that he's dying on is the same map that we shot the switch through the wall. And that is another bell slide. Normally you would have to fight one of the Sisters of Despair. That is one of the mission objectives. Defeating the Sister of Despair will open the door to get out of that room and into this room, but we can just bell slide through all of those doorways with a couple input changes along the way to sneak our way into a little door and into a portal.
And I'm dodging this health right here because we are still technically 0 and nothing has hit us yet, so I'm going to take a little bit of damage from him. Okay, we should be good now.
Yeah, like I mentioned, we do take damage after coming back to life and further into the negatives, but if we haven't taken enough, those 2 health and 10 health along the way can actually bring us back to life with a very, very small amount of health and make it very easy for us to die again when we don't want to. And remember, I mentioned if you die at 0 lives, the game underflows the value back to 255 lives, which is another way that the run can be lost.
And by the way, just a tip from me, if you want to try to beat the game on hardcore but don't want to do it in one life, you can underflow intentionally. I have a YouTube short about that. Very easy to set up. Okay, we're grabbing those explosive shells. Let's see, 66 is good.
Yep, you should be fine. So yeah, this is the only level in the speedrun that we need to collect a talisman from. He's about to collect the pieces that we need for that. So each level has a hidden eagle feather, which you can see in the corner of the screen there briefly, but he's about to grab. Basically, you would grab the eagle feather and bring it into one of those special portals that he just opened, and sacrifice that eagle feather to the NPC there, and he will give us a special ability. This is technically level 2, it's the 3rd level of the speedrun, but this in a normal casual playthrough would be the first level that you encounter one of these eagle feathers and talismans on, and it will be the Leap of Faith talisman, which is basically you stand on a square and it launches you across a large distance, and we need that to collect a couple primogen keys.
And just because this is level 2, do not let it fool you. These dinosaurs called an entrail, they like to throw grenades and they do a ton of damage. And on hardcore, they'll kill you very quickly. So even though
this is the only cutscene in downtime of the run, by the way.
Yeah, I'm taking a sip of water right now.
Yeah, you had mentioned before we went live that this entire run, this is like the only break you get, and the rest is pretty much like super intense. I see that. I get that now. That this is wild so far.
Okay, and there is we exchange a PNG for a 3D object, and now we're heading off to collect the primogen key.
Yep, so that square there is the Breath of Life talisman that we did not get on level 3. That would normally let us walk in that poison water safely, but this brown talisman's pad there is a Leap of Faith. So there's a couple of those on pretty much every level going forward. Most of them are just going to be bonus, hidden weapons early, extra ultra healths and kind of stuff like that. But on this level, we need it for the Primogen key here, and then on level 6, we need it for a button to open the Primogen keys force field, and then on level 1 we need it for the Primogen key. So 3 different spots that we need this, and unfortunately are not able to route it out.
And coming up after we visit Adon is going to be the hardest bell slide. In fact, I'd probably say the hardest trick in the entire Turok franchise. And I need to hyper focus for this. And I'll have Riff explain what I just did afterwards. So we have a very specific setup for this.
So I'll stay quiet and let you focus, and then I'll explain it afterwards.
This is the one time we use the flare gun so that we can see a spot on the wall and line up. Okay, now we're letting the entrail kill me. Grenade? There we go. Quick save. Okay, coming up. I was hoping I'd get that first try. My timing might be off. Okay, reloading a backup save. Let me grab this health and set up again.
You might want to reset the angle.
I was nailing this in practice, but sometimes this happens. There we go, finally.
There we go. So, the normal way that you would get that Primogen key is that you would need to complete level 5, which we've already done. That was the 3rd level that we did in the run, the Hive of the Mantids. And there's a section in there where you can get a eagle feather, sacrifice it to the NPC, and get a talisman called the Whispers Talisman. And what that is it's Leap of Faith, but slower. So it basically carries us up a large gap very slowly. And where he was dying was like right at the pad for that. But instead of doing all that, there is a very, very, very precise spell slide that you can do. The game over screen lasts 8 seconds, and the movement and all of that for that bell slide takes literally 7.5 to 7.75 seconds. So we have a very, very tight window to work with, where you make a gigantic curved C shape is the best way that I can explain it, with a little zigzag at the end. So he's basically moving up and around a big canyon into a very small tunnel through 2 small doorways and into a portal that brings us right to the Primogen key.
There's also a couple of rock formations that are you could bump into, so it's kind of like threading a needle blindly.
Yeah, there's so many ways that trick can go wrong. Unbelievably precise lineup that you need to do with that flare gun. He might have even been off by just like a small fraction until he realigned it. It's just so many very precise angles and movement input changes in the air that just make it so unpredictable.
Yeah, there's a comment in chat. There's like 10 different things you can get caught on, which I believe that for this run.
And I am, you couldn't hear me, but I like count in my head 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, and so on to know when I need to change my key presses. And sometimes, you know, I'm not a metronome, so sometimes I count too fast, sometimes I count too slow.
Yeah, I've even tried it with the metronome, and it just throws me off. I count out loud. I can't keep a good rhythm in my head.
Flamethrower.
Yeah, this trick is a kind of precise midair jump called.
Oh, he let go.
Oh no, waterfall skip. This remaster did add ledge grabbing, which we take full advantage of there. It is huge to skip a lot of. To do a lot of sequence breaks, and we can skip basically like 2 minutes of sidetracking by ledge grabbing there.
Torpedo launcher.
And what you saw Wolf do there again is just shooting the shredder up to where he switches to unlock a gate underwater. This weapon that he has underwater, I wish more games did something like this. This is the torpedo launcher. We don't really use it for shooting all that often, except in these tunnels where enemies can body block us and shred us pretty quickly. But what it does do is make our movement underwater incredibly fast, and we don't have to spam W anymore. So it really just makes underwater so much easier. Another thing that the remaster did was kind of redesign levels, and if any of you guys have played this game as a child on the original N64 version in '97, you might remember this level as being the bane of your existence. This level had so many winding, similar-looking tunnels like this.
This level's why they made strategy guides.
Yeah. They basically cut the number of tunnels down by 2/3. I think there's 3 central rooms in the original. And on the remaster, they only have that 1 central room.
Alright, arrow, thank you. Okay, should be 1 shot and I'll be set up. Very easy one, but I quick saved anyway, just for safety.
So I think this is actually like the single biggest sequence break in the game from bell sliding.
It's massive.
It's super simple bell slide. You literally, that doorway that he died in front of, you just move into and then hold right and you go right into the portal. It skips just a ton of side tracking and brings us right to this area here. Which is right before one of the final level 6, or right before the final 2 level 6 keys, right at the end of the level.
Alright, and coming up is a spider we have to kill. And that spider has a name, Bonnie Tyler, because she is holding out for her hero. But we can jump up and down, alert that spider, and we can shoot and kill Bonnie Tyler.
Oh, I'm old enough to get that reference.
Because that spider always blocks the shot. It's always a hero. Okay. Oh. Okay, dude. There we go.
Full health.
And that full health is unavoidable, so we pick it up.
Most of the full healths in the run we can walk around if we don't want them, but that one is in such a small tunnel that we just have to grab it. It's not a big deal though. This part of the level is pretty easy.
I saw you mention in chat that this is actually the remaster of Turok 2. And how many of these tricks and skips were available in the original Turok 2, or are these all like new and specific to the remaster?
It's specific to the remaster because this is on a completely different engine, and this was kind of the earlier days of the Kex engine, which was a little jank back then.
Mm-hmm.
It's much better now.
So we're back to the beginning because we did not complete the mission objectives, but that is what we want because the beginning of this level has an add-on portal. We've actually got all of the keys we need to get into level 6, but here is a point that we have decided it's best to backtrack to level 1 and get the Primogen key on level 1 that we missed. And again, another reason that we needed the Leap of Faith talisman in level 2. We have not found a way to get this Primogen key without that talisman.
Not yet, anyway. I've looked into it because everybody. Riff has a trick named after him. The Bell Tolls has a trick named after him. I want something named after me. I haven't been able to find anything. I have good ideas, but they just never work out. And I tried to find some kind of skip for that, and it would work in Turok 1, but it doesn't work in this. And the trick I'm referring to is cannonballing. If you ever seen Turok 1 speedrunning, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Oh god, yeah.
Greetings, Turok.
Yeah, that's another good point, Sventus in chat. The original game did run a lot slower. The original Turok 2 really pushed the boundaries of what the N64 could do. And very frequently ran like a Microsoft PowerPoint. When there was a lot of stuff going on the screen. This runs very well on modern hardware and pretty much gets a steady 60 FPS. It does cap at 60. And that's kind of because I believe the Kex engine ties your move speed to frame rate.
I need to go back for one. Okay.
So we're in level 6 now. Very briefly at the beginning, you might have seen that central room had a big green lasered off area. That is the Primogen key for level 6, right off at the beginning. But the gimmick with this level is that it's divided into 4 sectors. Each sector has a button. Pressing all 4 buttons will open that laser barrier and let you get the Primogen key. We can kind of skip most of this level by going in reverse because a lot of the buttons are at the end. So this is the end of Sector 1 that we just bell-sided through the exit from. And we're going to do another bell-side immediately. We've been managing our Doritos and health very closely. We just got our life. We have just enough health to die again immediately and set up the very next bell-side. This is gigantic, C-shaped around a couple hallways here.
Okay, good. So after
Perfect.
Bell's...
That is another tight one.
Yeah, after Bell's Hill, that's the second hardest bell slide in the whole run.
Again, uses most of our timer that we're working with. So this hallway here, this big C-shaped, is the pathway that he took. And the reason that we do that bell slide... Yeah. The reason that we do that bell slide, those wind animations, that is another spot that you would use the Whispers talisman that you collect on level 5. Standing on those pads will kind of carry you over the gap and let you get into that room normally. But if we put Turok on the other side of the door will just naturally open. So we bell slide, we go through the door to open it, and then we go back out the door and around that hallway into the Adon portal. We don't do anything with Adon there other than say hello and leave, so she brings us back to life here with this zombie raid.
Well, Sector 2 has another jump to using the Eye of Truth, or an Eye of Truth platform, and we have no safety net for it. We're in zombie mode, we can't quick save in case we fail it, you spend enough hours in this game, it's really not an issue. It's still kind of nerve-wracking, though, especially if you're on PvPs.
Yep. So yeah, the Eye of Truth talisman that would let us see the bridges and extend the beginning of the bridge so we can actually use it. That is in this level, and it's in the end of Sector 4. So normally in a normal playthrough, you would collect that talisman and backtrack here to Sector 2 to do what he's about to do. But we can just jump and ledge grab the very end of this platform. And one of the platforms we cannot see for some reason, but we can follow the trail of 2 healths. right up to the top and hit the switch. That is Sector 2's switch for the Primogen key in the beginning of this level. So we have 2 switches left to hit, and that's all there is for this level. There's no more keys to open the future levels aside from the Primogen key at the end.
And if you fail that trick that I just did in that room, there's no way out. That is a reset.
Yep.
It will kill your run. Alright, we're making our way through this room. Oh, I hit the guy directly. I didn't get the bounce. That's fine. And we're gonna refill our health again.
Yeah, for the most part at this point in the run, there's not a ton left to do. We have one more bell slide, so we need to make sure that we don't get 2 lives because we want to die in game over. And we want to kind of keep our health in the middle ground, so when we're ready to die, we can die quickly. But there is one very challenging room with a lot of enemies that hit us pretty hard, pretty quick. So after that room is over, it's pretty smooth sailing. That is coming up at the end of this sector.
Alright, and I'm swapping to Scorpion Launcher because this guy can be a jerk. Alright, he didn't do his attack, so that guy has like shoulder-mounted cannons. It's its most powerful attack, and it is broken, like in every sense of the word. It's he'll start shooting and it won't stop. And on hard mode, you will die. So
Yep.
we have to take him out very quickly.
He can also punch us as we jump to that platform that he stands on, and punch us into the pit of lasers and kill us. So it's another reason that we like to kill him.
Now, Riff, what is it about these tunnels that make them so awful? Why am I quick saving?
I was just gonna say, these tunnels are the only area of the speedrun that I know of that the walls are, I think, not connected in some places. The Kex engine that this game runs off does not like when you go out of bounds. So when you go out of bounds and make any movement, the Kex engine will put you back in bounds at the closest platform that you can stand on. There's a couple spots in those tunnels where the tunnels just aren't connected, and if you go out of bounds, the game will put you back in bounds, but the closest point is like a minute back. So it's easier to quick save and make sure that you don't have that happen rather than have to redo a minute of the run.
Oh.
This is the hard room that I was alluding to, where there's a lot of big enemies that hit hard and don't like to die.
Where are we? Okay, good. Back here. I
Not
was
too
shooting.
far back, thankfully.
I'm getting more health. I was shooting my Scorpion Launcher and it just didn't go over the console. He was standing behind.
Yep.
The nerd has a bulletproof computer. Or explosive proof, more like. Okay, so we have to hit this again. Go back.
Yeah, we're able to hit some switches through kind of walls, kind of not really walls, but that's the type of wall that we can hit switches through. So you didn't see the switch, but that was the button for Sector 3, the laser controller for the Primogen key at the beginning.
Okay, there we go.
This room is a big
Nice.
kind of gauntlet of hitting button after button to open that middle door and let us back out. And that is the end of Sector 3.
Scorpion missile launcher.
You'll see that middle area, some of the green lights are turned off. That means that we've hit the button to open that laser barrier and get the Primogen key that's taunting us the whole time right at the beginning. We have one final bell slide here. This is the end of this is the beginning of Sector 4, and the end of it is kind of right here in the middle of this room, and we can just bell slide right through this door and into the portal. Yeah, that enemy does not like to kill us sometimes, but there's the infinite shooting. So Wolf's going to take some intentional damage right there on that laser. And I say intentional damage, we're at 0 health, we've died, we just want to get into the negatives because there are some 10 healths right there at the beginning that we can accidentally walk into. which I have done unfortunately many times and come back to life.
Yeah, I've done it too.
Another unfortunate glitch that I have had happen is jumping into this poison water. There are some healths right there at the bottom. I have jumped into the poison water, hit the health, and it has revived me and then immediately killed me.
That's surprising because
take a little bit of.
That's surprising because it does 250 damage flat whenever, like every tick.
I have no idea how it happened. So we take a little bit of safety damage on those lasers before we turn them blue, which allows us to go through them. Those lasers do a ton of damage and get us way down into the negatives. But that is the final bell slide of the run. We're going to spend the rest of the run in this zombie mode state and grab the Primogen key and go on to the Primogen boss.
And as action-packed as this run has been, it all goes downhill at the Primogen because we literally just hold space to win.
Nice. I'd say you deserve it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, this run.
So we're going back into Sector 1 here,
The first time I did this for Hotfix, it went way better than this. So I'm grateful for a break.
You've earned it for sure.
Back into Sector 1 to get to this ADOM portal that we bell slided into earlier. This is just the closest ADOM portal to the middle room there. That'll let us warp back to the hub and start the final boss.
Okay, so for this boss, for Primogen, there is 3 platforms that are out of bounds, and they start the cutscenes. So there's the one that starts this cutscene with us jumping down and us meeting the Primogen. Then there is the platform that starts the good ending. And then actually it started when the blue flash appeared. So this was us on the platform that starts this cutscene. A platform that gives us the good ending and then a platform that gives us the bad ending. I'm going to drop down into the death pit and as we build up speed down in there, and it takes a while. Like I have my live split open to know exactly when I need to do this. It takes about 2 minutes, and I kid you not, it's faster than just fighting him normally. And after 2 minutes, I hit space and I jump through and I touch the platform for the bad ending, and we win the game. And that is what we do. And because we have so much time, I'm just going to go ahead and get my shoutouts out of the way. Riff, thank you very much for commentating for my run. GDQ, thank you once again for letting me run this. If you want to follow me on Twitch, it's chaos_wolf, where I'm going to be not only speedrunning FPS games, but I'm also going through some retro achievements, like some classic N64 and PlayStation games like that. If you want to check me out, I'm also getting very close to 1,000 followers, so I'd really appreciate you following along. And Riff, you have any last words?
No, I don't stream often enough to shout out. It's very sporadic. If you want to follow me and catch my once every few month streams, it's Rifampin_. But I don't stream too often.
He's being very humble. Let me tell you, everyone. Riff and I have been trading world record back and forth. He's an excellent speedrunner. And
yeah, Wolf just took it back a couple days ago, so congratulations again, Wolf.
And side note, Chad is giving wonderful commentary about the audio that's going on in the game.
Yeah, we get to hear Turok's grunts of pain over and over every time he teleports up to the top of the room.
And is there a Discord community for Turok, or just kind of?
Yes, you can go to speedrun.com/TR2, and there'll be a link there to the Discord. T2R, yes.
T2R.
A lot of people still on. There's a few people still run this, and a lot of people, though, they're mainly on Turok 3 since that came out last year. Okay, coming up.
So we've gained enough velocity.
Holding space
when
now.
we jump.
It's not going to happen right away.
Jump. we'll poke into the wall, and again, when we break through the wall on the Kex engine, it puts us to the nearest platform that we can stand on, and we just happen to be falling in a perfect spot that puts us right near that platform that was out of bounds that they used to trigger the cutscenes. So time will happen very suddenly.
And time.
Oh, you aren't kidding on that one. GG.
So it's a good thing we have the estimate that we did, because that was about close to 4 minutes behind my record. But all in all, I'm happy with the performance with the showcase, and that's gonna be it. This is an unskippable cutscene, so whatever.
Yeah, I underestimate. It works.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, GG's. Keep giving some GG's to Chaos Wolf and Revampirin for some fantastic Turok 2 here. Before we go to break, I just want to give you all a challenge of your own. So, we have a little thing right now. Because of the revamped Hotfix seasons, what you should do is head over to the official GDQ Discord and add the new Hotfix role. That way you can keep up tabs on upcoming shows, showrunners, staff, and more. So all you need to do is go !Discord in Twitch chat so you can get some more info on there. And you should head over there and see us, and it's going to be great fun. But with that, again, thank you so much for the run. It was super amazing. And after the break, we are going to be switching over to a co-op run of Sunset Riders.